channel. So today I'm doing a very exciting collab with a bunch of ladies here on YouTube and also on Instagram. This is a bonus video because I don't usually post in the weekend, but we are doing a project pan tag sort of challenge video. So if you want to join in on the fun, I will have all of the questions in my description box. Basically, Millie contacted me on Instagram, asked if I wanted to join the group, and there's just a bunch of us, all project pan ladies, all makeup lovers, and she came up with a bunch of prompts, questions, and we are here to answer them. I was originally going to do this as a get ready with me, but I honestly haven't had any time this week. I have put off this video to the final last minute, but in any case, it might be better this way because not everybody wants to watch a 50-minute video of me putting on my makeup and talking about project panning. I mean, maybe you do, I don't know. So the first prompt is, how long have you been project panning? I can honestly say the moment that I my mind exploded in terms of, oh my gosh, what is this thing people are talking about? I've never heard of this. What is this concept? It was a few months after I gave birth to my son. So it was in 2020 when everybody was stuck home and you couldn't really do anything. I already watched YouTube for several years prior to me ever considering actually starting my channel, but I stumbled upon Sarah Rose, one of her project pan update videos, and I was like, what is this? And then I got so intrigued. So I went back and I watched like her progress, and I just loved how items were being finished or she was hitting pan, and I'm like, ooh, I like this. And then I stumbled upon other people doing the same thing. I fell down the rabbit hole and I was like, you know what? I could do this. I was on maternity leave. I was like, I got makeup that I haven't used or worn or skincare that I just have neglected for far too long. And I was just thinking, you know what, this would be a good way for me to cleanse the stuff that I have, try to get through it, try to purposely force myself to work on items that I have essentially hoarded for years, because I am somewhat of a hoarder. Even before my channel started, I had over 30 lipsticks, and I feel like that's quite a lot for somebody who really didn't wear lipstick all that much anyway for a very long time. So I have been project panning officially for 4 years now, because pretty much started when I started my channel, and my channel I started 4 years ago. The next one is your favorite product that you've ever panned. So for me, I think whenever you finish a bronzer or highlighter or a blush, that is always quite significant because, foundations and whatnot are generally easier to pan, at least for me. So when I finished my Super Shock highlighter from Colourpop, the first one, I think it was called Manifest That. I don't have it anymore because I actually just got rid of the compact a few months ago. I didn't plan on ever talking about it or keeping it, so it is what it is. But basically, it was those huge compacts, and you had that Super Shock, beautiful highlighter. And when I officially finished that, I was very proud of myself. I was very, very happy. I mean, I have finished a bronzer before and a blush a few times, but I think ultimately that one, because it took me so long, and I am working on a second one and I'm almost done with that one. I will feel the same accomplishment once I finished it, but it's just the sheer size of it, maybe not even in terms of how much product is in it, but the compact was so huge and I just felt good about myself. So I think that's my favorite one because it was also a joy. I really love that product. I never hate panned it. It took forever. It took like 3 years, I think, on and off officially to finish it. They take a long time. They're very easy to hit pan on, but to actually finish, they take so long. Okay, the next one is the most frustrating pan I've ever completed. So I think any lip product, for me, I generally just hate panning lip products. I can't do it. I think I've done it maybe twice. Wow. And I think officially maybe once. Sorry, my dog is down here snoring. I think I've done it maybe officially once, and it was back in my first year of project panning. I finished a Revolution lip gloss. I can't remember which one it was. It was just one of those standard ones. I don't even think there was a lot of product in it at the time, but it took me a long time and I got frustrated. And I just think it was, I think in general, lip products frustrate me because I always forget I don't find satisfaction in the progress because you don't usually see the progress unless you're working on an actual lipstick, and then the progress is like minuscule unless you use that lipstick every single day. But I like to wear a different lip product pretty much throughout the month, so there's not one lip product that I want to use every single day for months on end. I simply have too much and I would get too bored with that. So it's not something that I can do. So yeah, I think any lip products, but the one that I've actually completed would be that Revolution one. I think it was the first one. And then all the rest after that have been frustration beyond measure. Okay, number 4 is a product that got the better of you and that I could not finish. I think it was an eyeshadow in my Alley palette, the Yasmin palette, which I can't show you because I actually have depotted some shades, which I will have a video about me depotting them, but I no longer have that palette anymore and I don't have the shade I'm talking about, but hopefully I can find it in a video because I had it in my Pan Those Eyeshadows. It was the shade called Trunk. Or no, it wasn't in my Pan Those Eyeshadows. Maybe it was in my Zodiac Panner, which I generally picked different eyeshadows depending on the different colors in the Zodiac sign. So that one was a deep maroon, sort of pinky shade. The product itself was so pigmented, there was no chance in hell that I was ever going to hit pan in that eyeshadow pan. Normally with my Pan Those Eyeshadows, I go 20 uses and then I roll it out. That one, I think on my spreadsheet, I have like 40 something uses on it. And I gave up on it. It's just not something that I could have ever wanted to hit pan on, so I definitely gave up on that one. And that's probably one of the ones I was like, you know what, this is never gonna happen, I cannot do it. All right, next up is kind of contrary to what I previously said, but the question is a product that I thought would be easy, but actually was hard. And I know I've said like lip products are hard for me, but when I rolled this into my project pan, I didn't think it would take me this long to finish this item. And I have yet to finish this item, even though I took the stopper out several months ago. It is my NYX Butter Gloss. Someone said that this particular product has a lot more sort of product in it opposed to your standard lip gloss, which made me feel quite good about myself having heard that. I do have windowing, but there is still so much product left in here. And if I really want to like actually finish this, I can't call it done. And I'm being quite pedantic. I'm being quite stubborn about it. And I thought this would be a lot easier because I thought that I was a lot closer to getting done. Maybe I thought it'd dry out a little bit once it took, it hasn't. It is just going on. And I think this could go on until next year. Dare I say it. I thought it was going to be easy. I thought I would be able to finish this one. I was going to finish any product and I haven't been able to yet. And it's still kind of bringing me down. Okay, so a product I thought would be hard but was actually easy is kind of an easy one for me to pick. There's 2 of them. I'm going to go back to eyeshadows. So I have a lot of my ColourPop eyeshadows depotted in here. And this was last year, but I hit pan. There's 2 that I hit pan on really easily and fast. And ColourPop pans in general, whether it be matte or shimmer, usually take me 20 plus uses to hit pan. That's just the standard. Maybe sometimes 30 uses and I hit pan. So for these 2 to really just take me less than 10 uses and I hit pan was kind of crazy. So this one right here is from the Wild Child. I think it's called the Wild Child, or I can't remember, the Wild one, whatever it's actually called. This one, I rolled it into my Pan Those Eyeshadows last year and I hit pan at like 9 uses. It was crazy. And then I rolled this one in because I realized that this has a very similar like powdery formula as the other one. So I rolled this one into my Pan Those Eyeshadows this year. And again, it took me less than 10 uses to hit pan on it. It was absolutely absurd. For ColourPop mattes to not take very long is a very unheard of, because like if you look at this one over here, this one took me like over a year to hit pan on. It was a very different story. And then I think over here as well, I know for sure in my Honey, This one in particular took me over 30 uses to hit pan on, and this one as well, and they're both mattes. So those two particular shades that were both from the Wild Thing, it's the Wild Thing, not the Wild Child, the Wild Thing palette from Colourpop. For whatever reason, the formula in that palette is so divine. Like, I'm not complaining. I actually really like the formula of those two mattes that I hit pan on because they're not like so densely packed. And I think that the type of eyeshadow that I prefer. I like eyeshadow to be lighter and easier to work with because, you know, it's fun to hit pan on them. Okay, number 7 is my favorite project series. Oh, this is hard. This is hard. I would have to say, at the moment, currently, my favorite one is Project Level Up, which I know that Sophie Alexandra is also doing this tag video. So she will be having her own answers, but I love her Project Level Up. As soon as I know she started it, I think maybe 3 years ago, and I didn't start straight away. I kind of caught on to it a little bit too late, but I didn't want to wait until the following year. So I started later on in the year, and I've just been doing that ever since. And it's allowed me to understand my palettes in so much detail greater than what I would normally do, because obviously you have to hit pan in so many palettes depending on what level you're on. You have to do a no pan left behind style where you use every single shade multiple times before you can roll out that palette. And it does force you to realize if you actually like the palettes in your collection or not. It's definitely helped me over time. And it's also helped me realize which pans I like, which colors I prefer as well, or which types of formulas I prefer. And yeah, it's been so much fun. I'm currently on level 5, which is a little bit scary, but I'm very excited to go to level 1, and I think that'll be pretty soon. So I think that's my ultimate favorite one. I still like pan those eyeshadows. That is the first one that I started doing other than the project pan. I think when it works, I think in terms of project pans, the only time that it works for me is when I don't do prompt based, because I did try to do a lot of prompt based projects from the Fantastic Ladies or some other ones. And I just never, I always fell out off of them. I just never liked the prompts, or I didn't want to work on items that I didn't want to work on, but I just used them for the prompts. So in my project pans, and I think the best way to do that is just to pick items that you want to pan. So yeah, I would say definitely Project Level Up, pan those eyeshadows, would be my 2 favorite, like my top. Definitely Project Level Up would be my top. So shout out to Sophie Alexandra. Okay, so one project type that I will always include in my project pans. So back in the day, and it's still a thing, but a couple years ago, I made the conscious decision to always have a primer in my project pans because I was always getting too many primers. I had like 13, 14 primers at one point. I did get it down to like maybe 9, and I think it's bumped up back up again. So traditionally, I always try to have a primer in my project pan because I'm really just like, that's something that I just keep acquiring, I keep buying. And I currently do have a primer in my project pan. So, you know, I'm slowly trying to just wiggle out all the older ones because all these new ones keep coming into my collection. I feel like primers, like foundation, I can use almost every single day, depending on how many I want to use during the month. So that to me is an item where I always want to have it in a project pan. All the rest is really dependent on what I feel at the time. But definitely a primer, I always want to have a primer. Okay, next prompt is a product that I'm currently struggling on, but I'm sticking with it. So I already mentioned the NYX one, so I'll speak about something else because obviously I am sticking with this one. I am definitely struggling with it. I think that I will speak about this one. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm ultimately struggling with it, but I'm not, I haven't finished it as soon as I wanted to, and it is this one. So this is another Super Shock from Colourpop. This is the second one that I had. So I already spoke about the first one, which I have finished. So, and this one is called Coasting. It was part of their Coral collection. I think it was a Coral collection a couple years ago, but or maybe that's Peach or whatever. I don't know what collection. They have too many collections. I couldn't tell you. So I worked on this palette for 2 years straight. I gave myself a break. And then I brought it back into my project pan this year, and I thought by now I would have it done. And I haven't done. I have this much left. I haven't done my project pan update, so there's a little bit of a spoiler. I think that's going out tomorrow. So a little bit of a spoiler on this one, but this is what it's looking like right now. And it's not one that I'm ultimately like truly struggling on, but the sheer fact that this is the 3rd year that I'm trying to pan this item, you know, you have to have a lot of patience when you're trying to pan a product, and you have to love it. So this one, yeah, I would say I'm struggling on it, but I'm sticking with it because I know the euphoria that I'm gonna get when I finally finish it is going to be great. And I do love these products, so. All right, a last question, which I think I've already kind of answered in some of these prompts, is either some tips or hacks that I use to project pan, and maybe they might help you to project pan. So I think I've always said this because I think I've answered a question similar to this previously, is I generally would avoid hate panning. So don't try to finish an item that you don't like. There's no amount of time in life that should be dedicated to using a product that is rubbish for you, doesn't work, or is old. Just dump it. Yeah, it's money that you've essentially wasted, but at the end of the day, it's in the past. There's no point you trying to finish a product that you don't enjoy. And I feel that the same way with if you're doing a pan that palette and you end up with shades in the palette, like you've used all the beautiful shades in the palette, you've hit pan everywhere you want to, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with a few shades that you would never really want to dip your hands into if you weren't trying to pan that palette. I think it's perfectly fine to dump it, or like just say, call it done. I've done everything I can. I've used everything I wanted to. I've got my money's worth of this product, and move on. I refuse to hate pan. Now, there will be exceptions because this NYX product I officially hate, but I only hate it because I can't finish it. I actually do like the product itself. So it's not like I'm putting it on my lips and it's all gritty and disgusting and horrible. It's actually beautiful. It smells great. It hasn't gone bad still. If it had gone bad, because it is an older product, if it had gone bad by this time, I would have definitely dumped it and called it a day, but I'm being stubborn. Now, of course you can be stubborn, but my recommendation is pan the products that you love. Don't wait and not touch the products that you love. That's another one too, because you will realize if you hold on to something for 2 years because you spent like 100, whatever your currency is, like dollars, pounds, whatever, euros, on an eyeshadow palette, and it's too precious for you to hit pan on because, you know, you spent all that money on it, so you gotta like savor it. That is, I can understand the mentality of that because I do have that at times, but let me just tell you that is stupid. You have spent that money for that makeup. That makeup is supposed to be used. And I feel like people should use their makeup. So if you want to hit pan on your Natasha Denonas, regardless if they take forever or not, because I know that they are notoriously hard to hit pan on, but you love that palette, you love the formula, that's what I suggest. I suggest you work on the items that you love in your collection. You whittle out the ones that you don't like. And project panning can also be a way to try to go through your collection to realize what you like and what you don't like. So I've already mentioned this in the Project Level Up, like it's really helped me to figure out which palettes I enjoy, the formulas I enjoy, the brands I enjoy. And then, you know, if a palette rolls in and I know I'm really gonna struggle with it, then it kind of like sets the motion into play as to what you actually like and what you don't like. So that's another little like recommendation. And it's not a tip or a hack. I don't really have tips. I you know, definitely, obviously standard to keep organized, you know, track what you're doing every month, because when I first started project panning, I didn't track every month my uses. So I would go onto my camera, film my video, and I'd be like, oh, I use this 10 times maybe, or a few times. It doesn't look too different. Oh, this one I haven't hit pan on. Maybe I used it once. And then I'd have products where I completely forgot that I rolled it into a project pan. And then I'd remember like 2 months later. But if you write it all down in either a spreadsheet, Google Sheet, I use a notebook. I'm old school like that. I like pen and paper. Then, you know, I use that, and then I do track eyeshadow usage on my computer as well. So yeah, I would just, you got to be a little bit organized with it, but also don't force yourself to pan items that you don't want to pan. Also, just don't overwhelm yourself. If you do too many projects at the same time, that can be really overwhelming. If you have too many products in one project, that can also be overwhelming. And you might prefer prompt-based project pans. You might like to switch it up every single month or every other month. There's a lot of project pans out there that do that, and that's the reason why I don't do them, because I prefer long haul ones. But everyone's different, so you know, I think you just have to figure out what you like, what you don't like. And if you don't like project panning and you just like collecting makeup, that's absolutely fine too, as long as you can afford it. You know, that's okay too. Nobody cares. It's your life. You can do what you want. Anyway, this was kind of fun. It's me, like, I'm just rambling on now, so I think I'm gonna end the video. But thank you, Millie, for coming up with this idea and asking everyone around. Hopefully there's a playlist so you can catch everyone. I'm sure she will put a playlist together, and as soon as I see it available, I will link it in my description as well. And I'll also have her channel linked. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.